Hey folks, Matt Sharp here with another Pacific Angler video. Today we're looking at the new Maverick Fly Rod from Sage, and the big questions everyone asking is, will it live up to its namesake and be a fighter pilot for the flats, or is it gonna be a little bit off? Today we're gonna throw it up on the rod rack, look at the curve profile, compare it to some of the other top rods in this lineup, as well as take it out on the field, well, actually the roof, and give it a go to see how it performs at short, medium, and long distances. Guys, if you want to see more reviews like this, consider hitting the subscribe button, and let's get into her. All right, so here she is, the Maverick Fly Rod with kinetic technology. First off, this rod is sold out right now. There's quite a bit of hype on it, and it's obvious why. At least for the guys ordering a rod, when you only have a chance to look at it and wiggle it around, it is a stunning looking rod. It definitely punches out of its weight class when it comes to looks. Beautiful dark blue, beautiful lettering. I'm not gonna get too far into that. Beautiful cork, you guys know that from Sage. The reel seat I like, but I do feel that there might have been a little cost savings there when we compare it to the $1,000 or $1,200 rods. But that said, it's not a $1,000 to $1,200 rod, and that's where it's important. This rod comes in just below the top of the lineup price tag, and that makes it a really compelling argument for a lot of guys going flats fishing or saltwater fishing. And so what are you guys gonna get? Well, when we threw it up on the rod rack, we wanted to compare it to the big boys, see if this could at least give the NRX Plus, the Helios, the Salt HD a run for their money. And when you look at the curve profile, it's interesting. I put this rod in a bunch of people's hands and got very varied opinions, meaning I had some guys say, oh, it's slower than the Helios, slower than the X rod, and then some would say it's faster. And when you look at the profile, it actually makes sense. They've slowed it down in the butt. It's slower than a lot of these rods in the butt section, but it's faster in the tip. We're gonna take a look here. I'll show you guys each different rod and look at the very advanced scientific testing method that we use, AKA the Scotty rod holder that's bolted into the wall. So this is the X right here in the brown. This in the green is the Salt HD. And then this guy right here in the blue is the Maverick. And you can definitely see how it's super slow in the butt here, but then really, really quick in the tip. When we compare that to, say, the Helios, we've got the red line up here, which flexes fairly fast in the top section and then has a softer tip. And then when we look at the HD, you can see it's much faster in the butt section and then catches up on the tip and flexes down to a similar sort of bend. Okay, so those are the flex profiles, and I'm using a term quite a bit in this that I need to clarify. I'm talking speed, and speed is actually a really poor term used to describe the very complex physics that goes in behind when a rod bends and delivers energy into a line. But it's something that our industry has adopted because it's simple. It's something that can be easily explained by a kid on a sales floor. I want to take 30 seconds to describe what I mean by speed before we go any farther. So what is it? Well, simply put, when we bend a rod, we need to apply power to it, or we need to apply a force to it. And the more it takes to bend a rod, the more energy that's stored in it. So if a rod is stiff in a certain part, it takes more energy to bend it there, but as a result, it will deliver more line speed when it unflexes. Flip it around on the slow side. If it's easy to bend in an area, you're not going to have to think about it as much, and we call that slow, but it's also not going to deliver quite as much energy into the line when it unflexes. I hope that makes a little bit more sense. We're going to go back to using fast and slow as descriptors because it's simple, but that's what I mean in a nutshell. You guys also might be curious about what we're comparing these to, so I haven't got all the curves labeled here, but I'll throw them up now so you guys can geek out a little bit. For this comparison, we are using all 8 weights, so we're comparing apples to apples. So that's all the science stuff, guys, or at least the curve profile. But you probably know, if you're a caster, that hearing someone talk about weights and curves, it's hard to get a really good feel for the rod. So let's jump in, let's throw a reel on this thing and hit it up to the roof and do some casting. So here we are out on the roof, and I'm going to start off with some wrist casts, because that's what you're going to do a lot of when you're short distance shooting to bonefish. You guys know that I'm more of an arm caster when I'm fishing around here at longer distances, but the wrist cast is really critical, and this rod handled it beautifully. Very sharp, very precise. And this one I'm going to be extending a little bit more into that 30-foot drop cast, where you're trying to lay it a little bit more gently in front of a triggerfish, in front of a cruising bonefish. And again, it transitioned very nicely to that distance, and we still had a lot of the precision that I wanted. As we extended, I felt that it transitioned really nicely into those sort of medium 40 to 60 foot casts. That's where that butt section starts flexing, and it was very smooth and very precise as well. I did throw some longer casts with this rod, but we did it over a major street in Vancouver, so I'm not going to put them in here in case we get in some trouble, but it can handle those as well. Okay guys, so we're back in the office, and I hope that gives you a gauge of what this rod can do. I really liked it. It is beautiful at short distance, very precise, very accurate for those short bonefish shots, but then it extends really nicely into that 60-foot realm with very little effort. And that's something you can sometimes struggle with maybe faster rods that are fast in the butt section. It also can extend. It can throw long balls, so you don't have to worry about that. I think this is going to be the perfect rod for intermediates and advanced guys. I am a little concerned for you beginners when you're trying to load up the tip at short distances. It takes a little bit more thought, but once you get it right, it's really a tack driver. Now, the other thing I took away was it felt like an old friend. And that's because of the technology in it. It's the same technology that's in the Sage 1, which was the top of the line rod a handful of years ago. It doesn't have the HD technology. And this is something I did notice from the higher end rods, was they can absorb shock a little bit better, and they track just a touch better at sort of medium and long distances. So you might consider that if you do want to get one of those top of the line rods. There is going to be a benefit there. So thanks for listening, guys. I hope this makes it easier for you to make your decision on your next fly rod, whether it is one of the big boys or whether you're going to cut a little bit of cost but still get a really, really excellent flats rod. As always, you want to see more videos like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Hit that like button. We'll see you in the next video.